पाणौ महासायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम् अतुलितबलधामं हेमशैलाभदेहं धनुजवनकृशानं ज्ञानिनामग्रगण्यं सकलगुणनिधानं वानराणामधीशं रघुपतिप्रियभक्तं वातजातं नमामि. So a few sadhanas to take with us, to take home with us. One is we'll connect to prayers. We said, prayer has more meaning for me. Just not uttering some words. It connects with me, connects to the deeper in me. And so we said we'll bring the practice of prayer into our lives. And we said we'll offer something to the Lord. Just like our little kids do in their classes when they offer something to Lord Sri Rama and say, please help me get over these things. We offer our negativities when we feel helpless and request the Lord to help us with them. And we will prioritize some time for ourselves, some time for reflection, some time to connect with what we've studied, some time to see any tweaking that we might have to do. So becoming aware. And we said we will make exercise a part of our lives. Just like Hanuman remains physically strong, we need to make sure that our body, the vehicle we have here to do everything that we need to do, that it remains strong and healthy. So, I don't know, how many of you exercise regularly? Raise your hands, please. All right. All the others, please, for the sake of yourself and for your family and for the work that you do, you need to stay healthy. So do bring a 30-minute exercise at least 4 to 5 times a week into your lives. So the next, we'll start from the beginning and recite the Hanuman Chalisa till here, okay? I hope you all have the books. If you do not have the books, please raise your hand. Anybody who does not have the book, okay? So you make sure when you walk out, go to Lakshmi Ji at the book store and you all take your copy because you need to have your copy. All right. Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raja Nij Mana Mukur Sudhari Baranau Raghuvar Vimalayasha Jodayak Phalchari Buddhihin Tanu Janike Sumirau Pavan Kumar Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harahu Kalesha Vikar Jai Hanuman Jnana Guna Sagar Jai Kapi Sati Huloka Ujagar Ramaduta Atulita Baladama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama Mahavira Bikram Bajrangi Kumati Nibara Sumati Ke Sangi Very good. If you want, we'll recite it fully at the end of every class, okay? But now let's connect to the verses and the meaning. Mahavira, Hanumanji is the greatest. He has all the types of valor that is known. The 5 types of valor described are Tyaga, Dana, Vidya, Rana, as well as Daya. So he has it in full measure and therefore he is called Mahavira. Tyaga is to live a life of, with total, live the life to the fullest without any compromises. Live life up to dharma without any compromises. Hanumanji was able to do that. And then Daya, totally compassionate. We can go to him anytime. His heart is always open. Daya, Vidya, of course, not only was he extremely knowledgeable, he also lived it. So he had the wisdom and brought it into his life as well. And then Dana, charity, he was extremely gracious and was ready to help everybody and give of himself as well. And on the battlefield, who is there to compare to him? Hanumanji was the greatest. So being qualified with all these types of valor, he's called a Mahavira. Next word is Bikrama. And here are so many things about quality of leaderships that we can actually connect to or mention. Okay, who's a leader, right? Somebody who can think big. Somebody who's not caught in the little nitty-gritty things but can think big and help the team move forward as well. So he, not only is it achieving greatness, but actually being immersed in a great cause, giving ourselves up totally when we are doing something big, a big project, giving ourselves fully, and that's Hanumanji there, okay? So he had high goals. Hanumanji used to have high goals, and he rose to his true potential. And not only that, he brought this whole monkey army together to face Ravana's, army as well. So that shows the quality of a leader. A leader can bring a team together. A leader can rise above pettiness. A leader can inspire us to rise to our true potential. So there is that potential of Hanumanji right within each one of us. And so it's very important to have some high goals. And you'll see in a video, which I'll just show you, Pujya Swami Chinmayananji in the chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita talks about setting goals. It's really something for us to think about. You should aim for something really high. And not only that, he says, you watch and see, he says, not only that, even if you don't reach, that's fine, but striving for that is actually your success. Just last week, I think I mentioned to you about what is success and happiness. We parents should remind ourselves that a lot, because many of our children are stepping on to the next phase of their lives, getting ready to go to, out of the homes to colleges and everything. And we parents get so anxious about where they will go, what will happen, which college they'll enter, what about their grades, and we miss something in the whole picture. You want this journey for your children also to be a happy one. Those things are extremely important. Yes, we want them to do well, but you want them to do to the best of their ability. We forget that. And so what we think is what we see on paper or what grades they get, or those things are more important, and we forget their process. We want them to make sure that they enjoy this bringing out the best in themselves. So in fact, as I told you last time in that talk, a TED talk also, he said, if you're happy as you make this journey, in fact, you're more successful. But if you tie your happiness to being successful, you've lost a lot of time. Anxious, anxious, anxious. So, as we prepare our children to step into life on their own, please, parents, think about this. Let their journey be a happy one. They will succeed. You, I hope, are setting examples, which I know you are, and they watch us. When that's the case, step back a little. Step back a little. They'll do fine. So Swamiji would say, popular way of thinking, what we say, we'll aim for the sky, at least we'll reach the treetops. Excuse me? Then aim for the treetop. Why do you want to aim for the sky? Right? So that should not be the way we think. And let's see what Gurudev has to tell us in this particular video. Let me see whether I can connect to all those things. Thank you, Sudhir.
Dulera, by far. He indeed, Agara, Karma, your sweating and toiling and your action, your selfish action, prompted by your ego and ego-centered selfish desires, in which the millions are sweating and toiling from morning till evening. That karma, it is only prompted by instincts and impulses. It is like animals is not the manner of achieving. Mere laborers. Durena, by far lesser, is this unnecessary sweating and toiling in the world outside, complaining of the tension, stress and strain of life. That is not real work. Work is inspired. Where the worker never understands tiredness, exhaustion. The joy of that work itself replenishes the true worker. Durena Kavaram Karma, Buddhi Yoga Dhanandeya. Hey Arjuna, please understand. As compared with the Buddhi Yoga, where you have got an ideal and you are pursuing to reach the ideal. It's an inspired enthusiasm with which you are living. That the joy of true work is any day nobler than all the amount of buckets of sweat and toil that you bring out of you, the exhaustion and fatigue you bring about physical. That is only labor. That is not work. Durena, Buddho Sharanam Anvecha. My dear boy, work in the world outside. Who said no? But Buddho Sharanam Anvecha. Maintain your ideal and work on it. And when you are maintaining an ideal, let not the ideal be a small ideal. Say that $1 million I want. If the moment I earn 1 million, I am retired. Eh? Because you may get it. Thereafterwards in life you are dead. You have nothing to do. Never. Keep the goal highest. So high that you will never reach. Swami, why should I keep an ideal which I cannot reach? Reaching the ideal is not the goal. Striving to reach it, that is the moment when you grow. Once you reach your goal, your ideal, everything is ended. Then afterwards you have to inquire how to die decently. Because you have finished. Everything has been done. Never should you reach the goal. Keep the goal high. Don't say that it's an impractical method. No. Because reaching the goal is not the goal. Striving to reach there is the goal. Try to reach out to the goal. You grow day by day, week by week. Buddho Sharanam Anvecha. Kripanaha Bhagahetava. Those who are seeking only the valor result and wanting only that you sweat and toil only to get something. They are Kripana. Kripana meaning miser. Miser means. Miser is a guy who has got the money in his pocket, but he doesn't want to, even though very hungry, he doesn't want to eat. He goes in front of the restaurant and smells the various food, because that is free. Why don't you go and eat if you are hungry? Look, it's a new note, $20. If I eat, I have to break it. No, keep it. Why? To spend the money is painful. Therefore you keep it and drink the cold water from the local tap. Why? Anyway I am going in the evening home. Home there will be food, so I will eat there. Till then you suffer. This is called a miser. A miser is one who has the ability, capacity, and yet he will not use it because he doesn't want to give up that little, that money or that what you have got. There is a wonderful chance of living your life in inspired enthusiasm at all times and a peak. And yet you and I will not do that. Why? Because of our attachment to the ego and selfish desire. And make a mess of our own life. You are Kripana. See? When you are inspired and working, you won't know the exhaustion of work. Doctors will have to take ECG to understand whether I am overstrained or not. You ask me, I am never overstrained. Why? I am inspired in this work that I am doing. Anybody who is inspired, they don't care about worries and anxieties. In your own homes, when there is a marriage, I tell you, the ladies work day and night and day with over enthusiasm. And when the marriage is over and the girl has walked away, you find everybody collapsing in wherever they are standing. For 3 days they won't get up from there. Neighbors will have to come and feel. How is it that at 8 a.m. you collapse? But till 8 a.m. you are all enthusiastic. That is because the shadi, the marriage, and that girl is now gone. Inspired work, you work, but you will not know the exhaustion of the fatigue. Tirelessly you work when you are inspired. Buddhist to Tolgahadi. Come on.
Inspired work, like Hanumanji. Thank you. Don't have doubt. Don't doubt yourself. Really, we all have that potential. Otherwise, we're not here just reading Hanuman Chalisa and trying to just know the meaning. We definitely want to connect with it. Bhajarangi. So Indra had this weapon called Vajra. It's called as a thunderbolt as well. It never missed a target, and also it always came back to him as well. That was the specialty of this, this Vajra. So Hanumanji was definitely blessed by Indra, because although he had struck him when Vayu got really mad at him, Indra actually had blessed him, and he said, you will withstand even the blows of this thunderbolt, if at all, you ever have to meet in a war or something. So anything, any weapon, really, Hanumanji could withstand anything. And then, of course, we know about his immense physical strength as well, right? So Hanumanji had this power that he could fulfill his goals, he could achieve his goals, and he never missed them. Plus, physical strength of his was incredible. So that's something that we think of as we think of Hanumanji as well. Kumati Nivara Sumati Ke Sangi. So who's that who helps us drop all our negativities? It's Hanumanji. So you know that when Hanumanji entered Lanka, he entered at night, and then he made himself into something, a very tiny form, thinking he will sort of, just get by past those guards. And there was, Ravana had an extremely sharp, very smart, guard there called Lankini. So, of course, she would not miss even this little thing passing by her. And she said, hey, stop, you thief. Where are you trying to go? Cheating me? And he said, thief? You're calling me a thief? Who are you guarding? You're guarding the biggest thief of all. Ravana has taken away my master's wife, so he's the biggest thief, and you're guarding him? So he says, that's it, and he gives her a blow. That blow is very symbolic. That blow is like satsang. You think about it, when we all attend satsang, our minds become quiet, and we do start reflecting, as we are thinking all these days, we start reflecting and we become aware. And we say, maybe I want to tweak this in me. Maybe I want to bring exercise in my life. Maybe I want to read this, stop watching TV at bedtime and read something inspirational every night. You feel like making those changes. If those things have not come into our mind, they say satsang has not had its effect. And surely satsang will have its effect. Otherwise, nobody would come to satsangs. You really want to see how you can bring this potential, Hanuman potential, out into our lives. So we become aware of the things we need to work on. So it's not just, Kumati doesn't mean people who are with bad people, it also means our negativities which we want to let go as well. So it helps us to evolve from our own selfish existence. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, when Bhagavan says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma samsthapanayartha sambhavami yuge yuge. So it's not just to get rid of evil people. He's come here to help us get over whatever negativities we have within ourselves. So that is Kumati Nivara Sumatike Sangi. So not only getting rid of the negativities, but increasing all our peaceful tendencies where we can be at ease with ourselves. Those are the things which Hanumanji will help us with. So for us, the message once again, just like we studied in Sadhana Panchakam, the verb is associate. What do we associate with? Satsangs. And then it can be in the form, as I just said, at night times, make sure you read something which is inspiring and will calm you down. Not watching a horror show or something at night and trying to go to bed. You know what will happen to you. The dreams will also be the same type of thing, and you won't feel great the next morning because you've had a disturbed night of sleep as well. So keeping good company, association is very important. That's another verb we take into our lives. Let's recite this together. Kanchana Barana Piraja Subesha Kanana Kundala Kunchita Kesha. We now meditate on Hanumanji's form. Who is he? His body is Kanchana Barana. It's, shining like gold, it says. And then Kanana Kundala, he wears a earring in his ears, and then his hair is all very curly, is what it said here. And the thing is, when you think of the form of the Lord, it's easy to connect. In fact, you can't think of anything without a form. The minute you just say a name, the thing that comes to your mind is a form. So Hanumanji's form will help us not only focus on the form itself, it increases our devotion. We've learned so much about what he stands for. So all those things will also come to our mind. And these are very necessary tools as we sit for meditation. For us, the initial stages of our meditation, it's very important for us to think of a form and get used to that. Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, when he was a little boy, you must have seen that when he was in that Quest movie, when he was little, they would be subjected to 2 hours of puja in their house every evening. And so children find it very hard, but the rule was they wouldn't get dinner, so he would sit there. And he had developed this practice of watching Shiva's picture in his altar and focusing on every aspect of that picture. Every aspect of the form, he had sort of captured it as a mental image. So much so, he says later on in his life, after so many years, when he got back into this path, that image of Lord Shiva would come immediately to him to calm him down. So form is very necessary for us because our mind is very distracted. To think of the Lord who's everywhere, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, is very hard for us. Impossible to grasp that. So start always with the Saguna Sakara form. Saguna means with attributes. Sakara means, the form of the Lord. Connect to that so that we can improve our concentration, and very important to bring a single pointedness. So it says his golden form is auspicious. Monkey's form, auspicious? Can it only be a physical form which is auspicious? You know that physical beauty definitely wanes away. As we get older, you see what happens, right? All kinds of changes happen in us, and physical beauty is definitely not going to be with us. What stays with us are our qualities. What are virtues? Those are the ones people will appreciate and will be admiring, and those are the things that we have to develop. And Hanumanji's, what qualities? All-encompassing love, his uncompromising intellect, and his capacity to serve. Immediately, those are the things which come to our mind. In fact, we get so upset when somebody says, this is a monkey god. We don't even want to, we don't like it at all. because we know what he stands for us. So those are the things that come to our mind when we say his golden form is auspicious, and in his ears he has the ornaments of earrings, and his hair is very curly, it's what he says. Now you know this point of where they pierce the ears. In fact, men used to have the ears pierced as well in olden days. It's a very important point. And I don't know how many of you have heard of super brain yoga. Have you heard of super brain yoga? My goodness, this was a talk in the Vedanta course. Simple. Do you know what we do? Hold your ears when you see Ganapati, and what do? Squat and rise up, right? It's called super brain yoga, sweeping schools everywhere. Look at this, kids in UK, other countries, they're all doing it. Because holding on to the ear and doing that increases our brain capacity to hold on to information. It's called super brain yoga. This is something that we practiced knowingly or unknowingly as kids when we did Namaskaram to Ganapati, right? You'd do this, squat 11 times or more times depending on your knee joints, all right? So this is called super brain yoga. So there are pressure points in our ears which stimulate certain centers in the brain. So great thing to, and look at this, doctor is actually advising somebody, I think he must be somebody nearing dementia or something like that. He's telling him, hold on to ear, increase your brain power. So it's really a very popular thing. Maybe we can all do that and also stay healthy, doing that exercise too, all right? So another way of bringing exercise to your life and improving your brain capacity. So also, what is the ornament of a ear? In Ramacharitmanas, Sri Ramacharita actually Lord Rama is asking Valmiki ji where he should, Vasishta ji, where he should stay. When he's sent to the forest, he asks him. And, Rishi looks at him and he says, Lord, where are you not there? Why are you asking me where you have to stay, where you have to build your kutia? Where are you not there, Lord? And so, of course, to humor him, he says, but you know where you always are. Lord, you know where your abode is? He says, in the hearts of those who love to listen to your katha. Our ears are made for Shravanam. Listening to the glories and stories of the Lord. And Mata Anandamayima, this is her saying, she says, Hari katha hi katha. Baki sab vyartha vyatha, she says. All that, the rest of the things are mere talk. Listening to the glories of the Lord is what our ears are made of. Meaning, satsang, keep your things positive. Basically, that's it. Keep ourselves positive. Protect our mind. That's what it's saying here. And in fact, Hanumanji, when he met Sita ji and when she said, what can I bless you? Of course, she gave him with Ashtasiddhi and everything. But he says, all I want to is, as a gift from you is, may I always hear about Sri Ram all the time. And therefore, that beautiful prayer, Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam, Tatra Tatra Kruta Mastakanjalim, Bhashpavari Paripurna Lochanam, Marutim Namata Rakshasantakam. That Hanumanji, who is there always, wherever there are stories of Sri Rama, sitting there with tears rolling down his eyes, so fulfilled, just listening to Sri Ram. To that Hanuman, to that Maruti, I bow down. Okay, so that's all. He just wants to hear about Lord Sri Ram all the time. Now the hair we have symbolizes the innumerable desires we have. Countless, or thoughts that we have. And in fact, as soon as we entered the Vedanta course, all the boys, all the brahmacharis they were called, had to shave their heads and keep only a chotu. And that chotu, whether you see it in a priest or whether you see it in those brahmacharis, it indicates their one desire. All the other desires have been pulled out. That little chotu tied up represents their one desire to know about God. So here also Kesha is interpreted as Resha or rays, and then Hanumanji just emanates all his great qualities. Those qualities emanate from him as rays. So that's the meaning of Kesha as well here. The verb we take from here is listen. Listen. It's an art. Listening is an art. So this beautiful saying, listen to understand, and then speak to be understood. When we think about it, when we are talking to people, what's happening, this is something we can all observe in ourselves. As we are talking to people and we ask them a question and waiting for their answers, what's going on in our mind? We're already thinking of what to say. We're already thinking, connecting it to some other incident and thinking about that rather than being there present. So there's some very beautiful things. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. Most people listen with the intent to reply. And every good conversation starts with good listening. And in fact, one of the best ways we can show respect to the person we are talking to is making eye contact and listening to them fully. In fact, we will gain a lot more by such conversations rather than being scattered at the time of that. So listening is an art, and let's take this as a verb from this particular chaupai and then see how we can work on that as well. Next one, let's recite together. हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा भिराजे, कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे. So Hanumanji carries a gadha, the mace, right? And then in another hand, he holds a flag. In some pictures you would see that. He'll hold, of course, has his gada, not always, but in other hand he holds a flag, right? And of course, it says, Hath Bajra. Vajra is again Indra's thunderbolt. His mace is as strong as the thunderbolt of, Lord Indra as well. And of course, it never fails in its task because it is Hanumanji who is using this Vajra. Okay? So, always made sure that his task happened properly by use of his mace. And then Gadha also means speech, Vak, right? And Hanumanji was actually called Vakpatutvam. He was extraordinarily skillful in the words he had to use. When he talked, it was, very rare that he spoke, but when he spoke, the words were very powerful. And those powerful words of Lord Hanumanji will have the capacity to get rid of any negative notions that we have, wrong notions that we have, and will help us to gain the right knowledge. All this is what it's doing is quietening us as we reflect on Hanumanji's character and his qualities so that we then become quiet and the message of the scriptures will then actually flow through us and become our wisdom, right? And the flag of Lord Rama is always in his hand. In his hand, he shows that he always honors and remembers the ideal for him. The ideal is Lord Sri Rama as well. And so the true glory of a person, in his case, in Hanumanji's case, is his true spirit of surrender to Lord Rama. He has kept his heart open and completely surrendered to cause of Rama. Nothing else is there in his mind. Of course, he wears that the Janeu, which is made of 3 strands, and in those days it was made of a grass called the munja grass. And actually, it's found in certain green grass which is grown, and you really have to split the outside and take out the delicate fiber which is inside, which is called the munja grass. It's a skill to get that out. The 3 strands of it are tied together with a knot, and of course it goes over the left shoulder. So the children are initiated into the thread ceremony between the ages of 5 to 10, and this is just before they enter their student life. At Sandipani, all the young girls and the boys, whoever wanted, were given the Janeu. So it was not restricted to boys, even girls, and in the olden days, even girls were initiated into the Gayatri mantra. It's a very powerful mantra, and none of us should hesitate to recite this every morning. There is nothing wrong in asking for a brilliant intellect from the Lord's Son. Okay, so very powerful mantra, the Gayatri mantra. So girls and boys can recite the mantra, and if anybody wants to initiate their daughters into the, Gayatri as well, do not hesitate. It should be done. Okay, so this indicates, the getting of the Janeu indicates a time of bringing discipline into their life. Our brahmacharya ashram, that is when the student life, is for discipline and study. If we follow the 4 stages of life as prescribed by our scriptures, it just paves the way for moksha for all of us. So our grihasthas like us need never be concerned that path of moksha is only for sannyasa. Followed properly, the brahmacharya ashrama brings self-control, discipline, and study. And then you enter grihastha ashrama, the greatest time to serve and do our duty to the best of our ability. So we have that capacity at this stage. We can give, we can take care, we can serve the community, and therefore not focus on our ego. And that's a great, tool for us to move on to the next phase, which is vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is where you stop involving ourselves in every little thing and withdraw ourselves and focus on this higher knowledge that we want to, and unravel within us. And the sannyasa stage is where you sort of totally give up everything but be focused on unifying yourself with the Lord. So our scriptures do prepare us very well for these 4 paths. Followed properly, it's a path to moksha for each one of us. So when we pray, do the Gayatri, you are praying to the Lord Sun, who is the illuminator of the entire worlds. And this Lord Sun, with his brilliance, you request, may that brilliance come to my intellect, so that let this become sharp and subtle and let it shine. So any knowledge that I acquire, remember when we studied, even Sahanavavatu had told you, Tejasvi Navaditamastu. That knowledge should stay in me so that it's available to me when I need it most. That is the best knowledge. So of course you pray to Lord Shiva for an intellect like that. May that knowledge which I acquire be available to me when I need it the most. Anything that we study, keep this in mind, that it has to come to our life, and let it come when I need it the most. Tejasvi Navaditamastu. So Gayatri is requesting the Lord Sun for that power within us. So with this, may I live up to my convictions. May my emotions be under control. And my whole personality, may it be integrated, right? With such a disciplined life, when I study, living the life of purity, of course the highest knowledge is ours. There's no doubt. We don't have to doubt at all. If we bring the qualities of Hanumanji into our lives, think about it, reflect about it, it has to come to our lives. And when that happens, why? Why are we not qualified for the highest knowledge? Of course, we are setting our own stepping stones for this highest knowledge as well. The 3 strands of the Janayu also represent the 3 pillars of Hinduism: Satya, Ahimsa, and Brahmacharya. Satya is truth, that it stands for. Ahimsa is non-violence, no harm to anybody, anything in the environment, that's a basic tenet. And then Brahmacharya is living a disciplined life, living a controlled life, right? And so worshipping the glorious form of Hanumanji brings all this to our mind as we look at him, appreciate him, auspicious nature of him, and what all the things that you look at him should bring these things and say, I can connect to that. So from this, we're going to take a verb, integrate. Integrate our whole personality. Integrate our body, mind, and intellect. And in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and of course there's a Buddhist saying which was derived from that, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad so beautifully says, you are what your deep driving desire is. As your desire is, so is your will. As your will is, so your deed. As your deed is, so is your destiny. We never have to complain that, oh my God, look at what I have got. We have paved our way for this. And you know what? It's so empowering to know that we have the power to pave our destiny as well. We have it. So that's said in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Of course, Lao Tzu says, watch your thoughts for they become words. Watch your words for they become actions. Watch your actions for they become habits. Watch your habits for they become character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny. So integrate our thought, word, and action. Shankara Suvana Kesari Nandana Tej Pratap Mahajagvandana. Hanumanji has many dads in one mother. It sounds a little not so great, right? It says Shankara is his father. Kesari is his father. Vayu is his father. And later on, even Surya is called his father. And of course, his foster parents, Lord Rama and Sita, also. So what does it mean? So you know that Anjana, his mother, prayed to Lord Shiva and asked for a son like him. And Lord Shiva said, I can't make anybody like me, but I can be born as your son. So all of Shiva's qualities were there in Hanumanji. And Lord Vayu also blessed Mother Anjana, and his qualities of selfless service, purity, everything also was bestowed upon Hanumanji. Of course, the Puranic stories, they describe various things, but the symbolism of that is more important. And then Kesari was a minister of Sugriva, and Kesari is lion, so he was very fearless, and of course that quality also was there in Hanumanji. And when he's taken to a Gurukula to study, the Guru becomes the father at that time. He is the one who protects, takes care of him, making sure he's kept in the right path. And Lord Surya himself was the Guru for Hanumanji. So there, Lord Surya is also his father. And then, of course, you know that Sita ji as well as Ramji, both of them called him my son. Suta, they called him their son. And so Hanumanji's foster parents are Lord Rama as well as all these other people, including Anjana and Sita ji. But in each one of us, the divine spark, that consciousness, is Lord Shiva himself. So in a way, we all are the sons and daughters of Lord Shiva himself. Having divinity in us, we ourselves are the children of Lord Shiva. And then Vayu represents all the energy within us. Not only the air that we breathe in and breathe out, but the circulation that goes through in our body, that is force that, makes us, eject things out of our body, as well as finally when the jiva itself ejects from us, it requires a lot of force. That also is a force, energy within our body. And then we need to assimilate all the food and everything that we take in. Even that is an energy. The whole thing is called as represented by Vayu. It's a pranic energy. So Vayu, Devata is in all of us as well as all these forces, right? And of course, we place a lot of importance in conserving our energy for the right things to do. The pranic energy should be conserved. Moderation in everything is prescribed so that we can lead our life to the fullest and a very healthy manner. So that's, Vayu. And of course, as I said, Kesari represents fearlessness. And so ultimately, Anjana will also represent goodness. Surya Devata, as I said, knowledge and brilliance. And Lord Rama and Sita, the ideal, we are dedicated to. So everything connects to us as well. We don't need to look at Hanumanji as just as an idol sitting there. Connect to him in all these manners and see those things right within each one of us. Tej Pratap Mahajagavandana, he is a symbolic of splendor and valor. His greatness and fame is revered all over the world. So each of these qualities are present in us. So become aware and invoke these potentials right within us. So the verb is appreciate. Who should we appreciate? Ourselves. There's so many great things in us. And we have sort of forgotten. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself, because as we take this journey, that's the most important quality. So there were two friends who were walking along one day, and then one of the friends stopped near this rock. And he kept staring at it and staring at it and staring at it. And the other friend said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, "Do you see what I see?" He said, "Yeah, I see a huge rock. I do see that." That guy said, "No, I see a beautiful elephant." And the other guy started laughing. "What are you talking? It's just a blob of rock. He said, no, because this guy was a sculptor. He knew how to chip away what is not needed. In each one of us is this beautiful Hanumanji reciting right here. And we have sort of forgotten, and we just think we are this rock. We aren't. All those qualities are right there, and all we need is to uncover and connect to that potential. So let us sculpt. Let us appreciate ourselves. Let us see all these things right within ourselves. And most important sadhana we take to our home with this appreciation is be kind to yourself. Be kind. Be patient. This path, many, many janmas we've taken to put these layers upon us. So, of course, we'll be patient as we unravel and remove these veils to get into the Hanumanji in all of us. But we've already started the journey, and that's the beauty. We've not just looked at the rock, we have recognized its potential as well. So, we're already little sculptors on the way. So having said this, let's recite the Chalisa, all the whole thing till. Do you all know the Hanuman Chalisa? Do you all want to just sing it together today? Let's do it. Okay, the whole Chalisa. You have the book in hand. Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raj Nija Mana Mukura Sudhari Baranau Raghuvar Vimalayasha Jodayak Phalachari बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसतिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बलदामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरण विराज सुबेशा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केशा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस बदन तुमरो यश गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीषा